Hello again, everyone, and welcome into our Get to Know segments here at MiamiRedHawks.com, talking with Miami women's basketball assistant Sahar Nusseibeh joins us, and welcome, first of all.
Thank you very much.
I was going to ask you come to us from Manhattan, the last 3 years?
Yes.
And I was going to ask you about the change from the city to the country, but you're an Ohio person. You know all about it here. And I would imagine it's calmed down and relaxed for you a little bit.
Yes, I'm an Ohio girl through and through. So when I was moving back, actually driving back from New York, as soon as I crossed the Ohio border, it was like coming home, literally. Dorothy said there's no place like home, and it's really true. There is no place like home. It's good to be back in Ohio. It's good to be back closer to family. I already love Oxford. I love college town feels, and this is just a premier college town, so I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, originally from Uniontown, Ohio, and you did your postgraduate work at Cincinnati, so again, very, very familiar with what's going on here. Tell us about your coaching experience. I mentioned Manhattan for the last 3 years. Kind of take us up the ladder to where you are now.
Sure. So I played basketball at American University in Washington, D.C., had a couple really fun internships in the WNBA with the Mystics in D.C., and the Atlanta Dream. Was a graduate assistant for Jamel Elliott, her first 2 years at Cincinnati, which I absolutely loved. I learned from one of the best in Jamel Elliott. Went on to Worcester, Massachusetts, back in the Patriot League, the same conference I played in, and I worked for Coach Bill Gibbons, who was a veteran, had been there 30 years. So I learned a ton from him and his associate head coach, Ann McInerney. I was there for a couple years, moved on to Bowling Green, came back home. I worked for Coach Jennifer Roos. Was an absolute sponge my 3 years there, and just tried to soak everything up from her. Learned a lot about the X's and O's part of the game. Grew as a coach in that regard. Loved being a part of the MAC. It is the best mid-major conference in the country.
Right.
And then I had an opportunity to go out to New York City and work for Heather Woolen with Manhattan College, and that was a tremendous opportunity for me in the fact that it allowed me to really stretch myself as a coach. So she gave me a lot of responsibility and ownership in helping build a program, and it was so enticing. So I was out there for 3 years, thoroughly enjoyed my time there. Again, I grew leaps and bounds as a coach. I was stretched. And I'm here in Oxford now, so. I
was going to say, recruiting coordinator, defensive coordinator for Manhattan. You were also the associate head coach last year. What made this job, so appealing? Obviously, Ohio, I'm sure, was a big draw. But aside from that, what made Miami University in this position a big draw for you?
Coach Hendricks, first and foremost. So when she called me up and we had some conversation, I instantly felt that we aligned in our values, just being about the student athlete before anything, and just development of the person before the player. I could feel in her words how genuine she was in that and how passionate she was about that. I had also heard from the coaching network, my circle of friends, how smart she is as far as X's and O's, and how out of the box she is and different. And just up and coming. A lot of my friends said she's cutting edge. She is next level, and where we're working towards as a women's basketball environment. So Coach Hendricks was a big factor, and then I came here for my interview, and the rest of the staff was tremendous. And then actually on my interview, I was able to meet a couple of the girls, and they won me over at hello.
Yeah.
They are just amazing kids. Or young women, I should say, and I just felt like I could add value here to this program. But people first and foremost here is what got me to Oxford.
Let's talk about this program and the next steps. Obviously, had great success, new staff coming in. Where do you build from that?
So right now we're just learning.
Yeah.
I think we're trying to be sponges. We're trying to learn about our players.
Right.
Again, as players on the court, but more importantly as people off the court. So we're learning kind of what motivates them, what makes them tick, because I think when you learn about their motivating factors and how they operate, now we can coach them and help them be their best on the court. So right now we're taking it in as a staff. We're learning how Miami works as a university, as a department. I'm personally learning how Coach Hendricks works, just because she's very different from where I came out in New York City. So just learning and taking it in these first couple weeks, and then when the girls come back, I think for the school year, we're going to be ready to get after it.
Ohio native, and did your post-grad at Cincinnati. I don't think I have to ask you about Skyline. I'll ask you what your favorite part about Skyline is, if you have it.
I am going to thoroughly disappoint you.
Oh, no.
I have never had Skyline.
Never had Skyline? You
Never.
Did? Okay.
I'm so sorry about that.
Well, we'll have to fix that. Favorite ice cream flavor?
I would say chocolate chip cookie dough.
Very good. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Sahar and Nusseibeh joining us on our Get to Know segment here on MiamiRedHawks.com.